Hey, this is Drew Gooden, NBA veteran, and you're checking out Scoop B Radio.
You know, it's only right we bring in the big guy, Drew Gooden. Brother, how you feeling?
Great, man. Feeling great. Great to be out here. Most of my fellow peers. I know we OGs now, but it's great to still be able to come together like this.
You were in 03 draft.
02.
Corrections. I always get it confused, though, because 02 was filled with talent. 03 was filled with talent because 02 was Yao. Jay Williams was...
Jay Will was 2. Dunleavy was 3, and I was 4. Yeah.
When you look at that 02-03 draft, it seems like it bled in through each other because there was so much talent. What do you remember about your draft process in 02?
I remember just knowing all those guys from high school, and I think the uniqueness of that draft class, a lot of those guys played 12 to 13 plus years. I mean, multiple guys. And just being to know them from high school, college, USA basketball, and being able to play over 10 plus years with these guys that you knew since day one was unbelievable.
I just remember the Slam magazine cover with you.
Oh, yeah, that was dope with Amari, DeJuan Wagner, the next coming. That was big. That was a huge draft class. But when 2003 came in, it kind of trumped and everybody kind of forgot about us when you talk about LeBron, Carmelo, and D-Wade coming in that draft.
So I want to take a step back because if I'm not mistaken, that Cavs Magic game on Christmas Day, you played in it.
Yes, I did. I'm surprised you remember that.
I'm not that far removed in age.
That's impressive right there. Yeah, that game was real significant because at that time I was actually on the Orlando Magic. And that was the year before I got to Cleveland with T-Mac, and that was the first time T-Mac and LeBron James faced off. And I tell you what, you saw greatness written all over LeBron James that night.
Walk me back through that process the day of that game, because I remember the hype machine was really pushing that T-Mac and LeBron game, but crazy enough, going into the draft, I remember LeBron sitting courtside getting an interview at ESPN, and he was watching. I remember he had on his number 0 Bulls jersey. Do you remember, because you were there, you played in that game?
I played in that game, and it was a lot of hype because a lot of people don't kind of remember this. Those 2 seasons back then, Tracy McGrady was arguably the best player in the world. I mean, it was the topic and the discussion was who's better, Kobe or Tracy McGrady? And Tracy McGrady had a slight edge for a couple years over Kobe. And then that's when LeBron James came in his rookie year, and it was a really highly anticipated game, that Christmas match. And I tell you what, like I said, if you watch that game over, you see the greatness written all over young LeBron James.
At any point, did you see any fear in his eyes?
Never. And I'm a little biased from that because I can speak firsthand because after that season, I played with him 4 more seasons, went to the finals, and he was a guy that led us.
That 07 finals, you guys played against the San Antonio Spurs. When you looked back at that time, I remember people were saying, well, what would have happened if Cleveland had played Phoenix? Do you think had you guys played Phoenix in that 07 finals, it would have been a different outcome?
I'll tell you what, Phoenix was tough, man. Amari, Sean Marion, Steve Nash, I mean that crew. We had Joe Johnson still there. I mean, that was a running gun team. And it was going to give you 2 different dynamics. The one with San Antonio, you know it's going to be a ground out, half court, 88-90 ball game, maybe less than that during that time. But Phoenix would definitely been a tough matchup. I think San Antonio kind of had our hand because our entire playbook, offensively and defensively with the principles, all came from Popovich because we had Mike Brown, who just left San Antonio as a head coach. A lot of people don't know that. So, I mean, they had our hand on that one.
Yeah, people think Mike Brown is new.
Yeah, no, Mike Brown is an OG, been in this league. I kind of say it was tough. He didn't have a fair shake in this league, having to have to coach LeBron James and Kobe Bryant on his first 2 go-arounds. I mean, having to be able to coach and manage those type of big personalities was tough. I think now with the younger team in Sacramento, with De'Aaron Fox and Domantas Sabonis, I think that is a perfect blend and allocation of players for Mike Brown.
Learn me something, as my late grandmother would say. When you see Victor Wembanyama and him being in San Antonio, why do you think that's the perfect fit?
It's a great fit because when you look at the situation, if Houston would have got the number 1 pick or the Charlotte Hornets would have got the number 1 pick, I think from a growth and a foundation standpoint, probably would not have been the best destination for a guy like Victor Wembanyama. San Antonio is the perfect place because Popovich I think we're seeing a reincarnation of Tim Duncan all over again, the same story. I mean, Pop just signed a new 5-year contract. So I'm anticipating Victor Wembanyama under that system becoming a hell of a pro, trying to become a Hall of Famer, and I think in the next couple of years, ultimately could be the Defensive Player of the Year.
I feel like your style of game, I look at you, I look at Joakim Noah, I feel like there's a place for you in today's NBA for that, and I feel like you can use the phrase ahead of your time. Do you ever look at today's game and the money that guys are getting and their roles similar to you and be like, damn, I played in the wrong era?
Well, yeah, well, no, not the wrong era, because there's guys that played before us that, I mean, Jerry West, for instance, I remember him telling me he only made $1 million in his playing career. I mean, this is the NBA logo telling me that my rookie year, and my rookie year, I was already doubling what he made his entire career. So you got to look at it as you got to be happy for the younger generation getting paid this money right now. A lot of guys worked before me. I put in the work for the young guys, you know what I'm saying? So it's their turn right now. I'm elated, and you're absolutely right. If I was playing now, maybe I would have made a lot more money, but you know what? It's great to see where the NBA is right now from a lucrative standpoint when it comes to money.
You were on the Orlando Magic when they were going through that revitalization. You had Tracy McGrady along with Darrell Armstrong, and the hope was that Grant Hill would have gotten healthy and played well. I know you also had Mike Miller on that team who was shooting the lights out alongside of you. When you looked at Grant Hill and you looked at that team and you looked at the fact that you also had Doc Rivers as the head coach, do you ever look at the what-if factor had Grant been healthy?
Absolutely. There's another factor you could look at. I mean, Grant Hill, when I got the news of getting traded to Orlando and I got the opportunity to play with Tracy McGrady and Grant Hill, I was in awe. I was like, I mean, this is going to be a hell of an experience for me as a young player in this league to soak up the knowledge. And I actually looked up to Grant Hill. He was my childhood, idol that I looked up to as a kid. So I was excited to play with that group. And you're right, if Grant Hill would have been healthy, it would have probably been a different outcome in some of those series. But the biggest knock in that during that time was we being up 3-1 against the Detroit Pistons that series, and them coming back and beating us in that first round and ultimately starting the dynasty. So we had a chance to knock out the dynasty early on, but did not do it with that team.
When you looked at Grant Hill, what about his game reminds you of LeBron James?
I just think the versatility and the IQ, the basketball IQ. Now, from a power and athletic standpoint, I mean, LeBron James is head and shoulders over Grant Hill. But there was a point in time where Grant Hill was super athletic too and sneaky bouncy. He'll catch a body, But Grant Hill was just a guy that when Magic Johnson retired, you was looking for who was going to be that next triple-double dude. And Grant Hill fit that mold, and LeBron James came in right after him.
Who did the best Doc Rivers impersonations in the Orlando locker room?
Hey, if I keep talking right here, my voice gonna go out like Doc Rivers. I'll be able to do the impersonation with the hoarse voice.
A couple more questions. You do television for the Washington Wizards as a color commentator along the big homie Chris Miller.
Yeah.
When you look at Jordan Poole and you look at Kyle Kuzma, what do you like about that tandem?
You got a lot of firepower in the scoring aspect. Defensively, I like to see Kyle Kuzma step up defensively. He has all the vitals to be a guy that should be competing and want to guard the best guy on the team any given night. So from a defensive standpoint, I like to see Jordan Poole and Kyle Kuzma take that next step, because we know they're going to put the ball in the hole, and rightfully so, they're getting paid to do that. So I'm getting excited for the season. We got a young core group of guys. We hate to see Bradley Beal go, but I'm happy for him in his new chapter in Phoenix, and we'll see what happens.
Porzingis in Boston, why do you like it?
I like Porzingis in Boston because they didn't have to give up too many pieces. I mean, I know Marcus Smart was a huge emotional piece, I would say, that you cannot probably replace. But when you get a guy like Porzingis that ultimately could play alongside Jalen, and you already know who else is over there, I mean, and Tatum, I mean, this is going to be, I say, a tough team to beat in the East.
That's all I got.
Hey, appreciate it. Hey, I'm impressed, man. Great questions off the top.
Brother.
This ain't easy to do.
Nah.
I'm usually asking all the questions, and he killing it.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate you.
Absolutely.